we are back.
Hello again. It's the Horror Guys. I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian.
We're going to talk about some horror stuff.
Horror stuff.
I'm not going to say horror movies this time.
Not
because
this
it's
time.
not really movies. It's episodes.
Creepshow, the series.
Season 2.
All of Season 2 we'll cover.
Yeah, we're going to chat about it.
Gonna mostly avoid the big spoilers, but if you don't want any spoilers, you should go watch the entire season of Creepshow 2 and then come back.
Because if you've seen Creepshow, you know how they are. They have twists and surprises and various things in the stories.
Actually, now that you mention it, they almost always have a twist.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way those little short type stories go.
Kind of their trademark thing.
Yeah.
So we may spoil some for you. You are warned.
So anyway, Shudder, the streaming network, has a show called Creepshow, based on the movies from the 80s or 90s.
And the HBO series, too.
What?
That was HBO, wasn't it?
What?
The series of episodes.
There was a series?
Of episodes. You never saw Creepshow? Way back?
Are you thinking Tales from the Crypt?
I am.
Okay.
Don't pay any attention to what I'm saying.
Not related to Creepshow. It's Tales from the Crypt.
I'm not qualified for this show anymore.
Yeah, there was a movie
Yes, I'm just totally brain farting. I'm picturing Tales from the Crypt was the HBO series.
Kind of the same thing.
It's real similar.
It's real similar, yeah.
It's short stories of horror and thrills. And,
there was a movie in the late 80s and another Creepshow 2, I think, was in the early 90s.
Creepshow 2.
That was it till last year.
This is the spawn of Stephen King.
Originally, yes.
Yeah, no longer.
It's more related to Greg Nicotero from The Walking Dead now. He's the one that runs the series.
Took it over.
Yeah. So anyway, we already did an episode on Series 1 last year. You can search for it on the site, horrorguys.com, and find the episode for Season 1 of the Creepshow. This is Season 2, which you can find for Shudder. And it's not a commercial. We're not getting paid to do Shudder ads, but we really like Shudder.
Yeah.
It's $5.99 a month, and there's a whole mess of horror stuff on there.
There's new stuff and old stuff and series that are short episodes, and
if you get on
all kinds of good stuff.
The Shudder Facebook group, all anybody ever talks about is Joe Bob's Drive-In. You know how many times we've seen Joe Bob's Drive-In?
We haven't yet, have we?
We never have bothered. There's just too many movies and series on there to bother with that live stuff. So, yeah. So, this year...
And it's interesting with Shudder, speaking of live stuff, they have... It's sort of like channels within Shudder, and they always have something playing 24 hours a day, and you can tune in to what is currently playing and just watch their... it's basically the Shudder show.
Yeah, it's just like Netflix. Movies. You can choose anything you want anytime you want. But they also have like a live channel, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and you can pop in and see, what are they in the middle of now?
I kind of like that. Well,
it's
I
kind
don't
of
know
interesting.
What's on. Let's see.
And if you just want to sit there and watch that, you could watch Shudder forever.
So, we don't get anything from Shudder, darn it. Hey, Shudder people, call us. Meanwhile, Creepshow 2, there were 9 episodes this year. And like in the anthology type thing, some are really good, some are really bad.
Well, it's not really 9 episodes, it's 5 episodes.
Okay, 5 episodes.
9 stories.
4 of them are double features.
Yep.
Okay.
And one is the longest one.
Yeah. One is a long one, yeah. All right. So, again, we are the Horror Guys. Go to horrorguys.com to read all our reviews, listen to old podcasts, or contact us by email, Horror Guys email. Facebook, we've got Horror Movie Guys Facebook group. And on Twitter, we are Horror Movie Guys. So check us out.
Check it out.
And buy our books, but I'm not going to harp on that this week.
Okay.
All right. So first episode of Creepshow Season 2 is called Model Kid / Public Television of the Dead. So you know right off the bat there's 2 stories in this episode. Directed by Greg Nicotero. Written by John Esposito and Rob Schreb, stars Brock Duncan, Tyler Rushing, Jaina Allen, 52 minutes. First episode, what'd you think?
I liked it. I liked them all, actually. But this, the Public Television of the Dead is my second favorite of all of them.
Second favorite?
My second favorite.
Okay, I think Public Television of the Dead was my number 1 favorite.
Okay.
I liked it best. Model Kid was okay. I think that's kind of a pattern here, too.
But it's
of the
kind
2
of
episodes on each one of them's really good and one of them's okay.
Generally.
They paired strong and weak together.
I think so, yeah, in our opinions, yeah. But it's kind of hard to... I've got 3 favorites, and it's hard to say for sure which is my favorite.
Okay. Well, you already said Public Television of the Dead was one. What else?
The Right Snuff, and the last one, the Night of the Living Late Show.
Okay. Suddenly I'm drawing a blank on what The Right Snuff was.
Oh, that was the science fiction one. They're in space with the gravity.
Oh, yeah.
generator.
Okay, that was good, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, first episode. Model Kid. Gillman Meets the Mummy is a silent movie within a movie wherein the mummy beats up Indiana Jones until the creature from the Black Lagoon intercedes. The monsters fight. Well, the hero escapes. Turns out, it's just a kid painting his model monsters in 1972.
And having fantasies about monster stuff.
Yeah, I remember back in the late 60s, early 70s. I don't really remember them. I remember the models.
Oh, yeah, I had a lot of the models.
They were hard plastic, about a foot tall, and they were the various movie monsters. Mm-hmm. And we were visiting my parents' house last week, and I saw Godzilla is still there. You saw that?
Yeah, I don't have any of mine still.
I didn't remember that I had one left.
I had a lot of them, yeah.
All right, well, anyway, Joe is a monster-obsessed kid. He dresses up as Dracula for pizza dinner when his Aunt Barb and Uncle Kevin come over. Uncle Kevin's an idiot, but Joe knows way more about horror than he does. Barb and Kevin are coming to stay since Joe's mom is starting another round of chemo. Mom dies that evening while watching a movie with Joe. So, they're very sad.
Yeah.
Goofy step-parents take over. 3 months later, Joe lives with Kevin and Barb, and Kevin is not very supportive of the monster thing. Kevin wants to get rid of all the horror memorabilia and breaks Joe's Grim Reaper figure.
And that was a mistake.
Kevin also beats up on Aunt Barb. So yeah, it's okay to be abusive to your wife, but don't break the toys.
No.
That afternoon, Frankenstein kills the bully that picks on Joe. No, not really. But Joe imagines it. Things then get worse between Kevin and Joe. That night, Joe sees a movie with his dead mother crawling out of the grave. She says his friends are watching over him. And then he wakes up. She's given him a comic book, and Joe orders something from one of the ads.
It's a magic comic book.
I'm going to stop there. If you want some spoilers, check out the Horror Guys site. It's got the whole deal.
Or you could just watch it.
Yeah. The creature effects are clearly just men in rubber suits here, but it's appropriate for the story and looks good. Because it's all in the kid's imagination. He's going to imagine what he sees on TV, which is men in rubber suits.
And the models, yeah. And it fits with the models. They look a lot like the models come to life.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, very
plasticky
much.
Yeah.
And Uncle Kevin is an abuser, but he does it in an over-the-top comic book way. And overall, the story's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
None
of these were bad.
It's very predictable. Yeah. You know what's going to happen from like the first 5 minutes in.
This Uncle Kevin is doomed. It's just a question of how he's doomed.
Yeah. All right. And then my favorite one. You want to read this one?
I could read this one.
You could read this
Public Television of the Dead. Kids are watching the Pittsburgh Public TV channel. It's getting to be Pledge Drive again.
Oh, Pledge Drive.
Pledge Drive. Well, Mrs. Bookberry has the hit show, and in real life, she's a real jerk. She wants the time slot from the Love of Painting guy. So they got a Bob Ross spoof and what's sort of a Reading Rainbow spoof. They got spoofs of the well-known PBS
She's the Reading
shows.
Rainbow person, right?
Yeah.
And the Bob Ross guy looks just like Bob Ross.
A lot. And acts like him, sounds like him.
Gentle little trees,
Claudia, the producer, comes down, cancels the painting show out of pressure from Mrs. Bookberry. The host, Norm, is freshly back from Vietnam, and they think he had to do some terrible things over there, but nowadays he's always calm, and he's painting, and he's happy. And well, on the Appraisers Roadshow, they have Ted Raimi with a flesh-bound I cannot say
Necronomicon.
Necronomicon. I've always had trouble
Straight
with that
from
word.
the Evil Dead movies.
Yep. Well, the host opens the book and reads from it, and it goes poorly from there. Raimi then goes all Evil Dead and kills the host. And it's it's in a big building with multiple studios. So this is just one of the studios while the other things are going on. Well, they start having some crossover, and it gets hilarious. Well, meanwhile, in the other studio, Norm is recording his final Love of Painting show. And the Ted Raimi comes in and throws the cameraman across the room. The Evil Dead learns not to screw with the calm painter. He really will beat the devil out of him. Yeah. Well, meanwhile, Mrs. Bookberry has a long argument with her possessed bear doll, which is also book possessed, until Raimi walks in and eats her face. And now Mrs. Bookberry is going to read the Book of the Dead live on TV to all the children.
That's a good place to stop.
Yes, I think so.
All right. Yeah, I hadn't pictured that the Mrs. Bookberry was reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
I would really like to see a death match between LeVar Burton and Bob Ross. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think that's what she was spoofing.
Okay, yeah. It was before my time. I never watched it, so I've never seen Reading Rainbow.
Mm-hmm. But
so
yeah,
as we speak, I am wearing a Bob Ross T-shirt.
It was very well done, good effects, and lots of dark humor.
Oh yeah. If you've watched any of these shows, you'll catch on.
Yeah.
Okay, the camera angles and sound effects are right out of the Evil Dead films, as is the Necronomicon prop and Ted Raimi. So it's like Evil Dead meets PBS. Bob Ross versus Evil Dead is the crossover we didn't know we needed.
But we did.
Someone has been watching a lot of public TV and Evil Dead movies.
Yep.
And in my opinion, this is clearly the best episode of the entire series so far.
It's my top 3, so definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first episode. Second episode, Dead and Breakfast / Pesticide. Directed by Axel Carolyn and Greg Nicotero. Written by Michael Rousselet and Eric Sandoval. Stars Ali Larter, C. Thomas Howell, and Iman Benson. 48 minutes. First episode is Dead and Breakfast.
And C. Thomas Howell got old.
He was like a teenager, and then he got old. Instantly.
It seems like he skipped a stage. Last I was aware.
Well, maybe he didn't do much in his 20s, 30s, and 40s. I can't say he did a lot. He sort of made an old man comeback.
I guess, yeah. I mean, he was born in 1966. He's not that old. He's only, mid-50s.
He's decided to jump for the old age roles in a younger age.
And I don't know. I just remember him as, because that was his bigger stuff.
He was big when you were a teenager, and he was a teenager.
Yeah,
and he dropped off the face of the earth for 30 years.
Close to the same age, and yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, in the basement of the Spinster house, 1939, old lady Spinster, that's a name for you.
Oh, yeah.
Killed a man with an axe. Today, the house is just a creepy bed and breakfast. It's called the Spinster Murder House. All the other murder houses are fully booked, but they can't get any clients. They decide to invite some influencers to stay at the house. Morgan, who goes by the name of Morg on Instagram, comes and does the influencer thing live and streaming. There are steel panels in the walls, and those hurt the Wi-Fi. They never found the bodies from Mrs. Spinster. Morg has done a lot of research on serial killers, and she's really skeptical that any murders ever really happened there.
Yeah, because no bodies were ever found. And
yeah, it's hard to prove.
It is.
The owner, Pam, takes it all very seriously, while brother Sam is a little more down-to-earth about things. The next morning, Morg wants to search for the bodies that were never found, and she's got the electronic toys to do it. They find hidden bottles under the steps and a safe behind the wall. The safe has nothing in it but an old sewing machine. Morg is convinced that old lady Spinster never killed anyone. Morg then finds a secret passage. She overhears Pam talking about giving her a good scare that night. They argue, and Pam goes after her with an axe. For real. There's quite a chase, and Morg is live streaming the whole thing. Pam murders Morg, and then the reservation numbers start rising. You kill somebody on live stream in a murder house, it's good for business.
You betcha.
Sam, well, that's enough for now.
Yeah.
Spoiler time.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say they end up booked up many, many months in advance.
So, happy ending.
Yeah. Nothing is more annoying than influencers. You know, those podcasters and such. Jerks, all of them. And this segment proves it.
This gal is.
She kind of is,
She kind of is, yeah.
Yeah, not even axe-murdering crazy people can deal with live streamers. Everyone knows there are really good horror fun is found in podcasts, not Instagram.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. And then the next one is called Pesticide.
Pesticide. Harley King, the exterminator, is a bit of a jerk, and he annoys Brenda, the psychologist. He pours a jar of roaches on her floor, to drum up business.
That works.
Yeah. Well, on his next call, it's a big empty factory. Mr. Murdoch has called. You come highly recommended, says Murdoch. He offers to buy Harley a new truck if he can take care of a few problems for him. He's got an infestation. He wants to renovate the property, but he can't until this infestation problem is solved. Well, the place is occupied by squatters, and Murdoch wants them removed. Is extermination just another form of murder for hire? Well, Murdoch says it is, and Harley takes the job. He sneaks back there in the dead of night, and he ends up killing one of the homeless by poisoning their soup. But that night, Harley has nightmares. The next morning, all the homeless are dead. He got kind of carried away because they all had the soup. And he keeps having nightmares and hallucinations of bugs, and he is a bug, and horrific bugs, and we should stop there for that one.
Okay. Yeah. And the exterminator, Harley, is played by, I can't think of the actor's name now, Josh something. He plays Eugene
Josh
in The Walking
McDermott.
Dead. Josh McDermott, yeah.
Yep.
And it's basically the same character. He kind of does talk like that a little bit.
A little bit.
I always wondered if he talked like that in real.
Not as much as the Walking Dead character.
All right.
Eugene in The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Well, I didn't care for this one. An exterminator kills people and feels guilt. It's fine for an idea, but it's not really a whole story in itself. It was well acted and well done, but
a little bit stretched out.
A little stretched out.
A little thin. A little thin on story, but well done. Liked it. I liked them all.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't dislike any of them.
I'm going to hold off on that one.
Okay.
Okay, next episode. Episode 3. The Right Snuff and Sibling Rivalry.
One of my favorites.
Directed by Rusty Cundiff and Joe Lynch. Written by Paul Dini, Stephen Langford. Stars Ryan Quanten, Brecklin Meyer, Gabrielle Bindloss. 48 minutes. First one in the episode is called The Right Snuff. Sounds like an astronaut story.
It does.
Sounds like a murder and astronaut story. Well, Alex and Ted are aboard the space station Ocula. There's debris heading their way, so they do a course correction. Whatever it is, it's homing in on the station. They use their special gravity wave device to avoid the collision. Turns out Ted is a brilliant inventor of the gravity wave device, and Alex is just the son of a famous astronaut, always living in his father's shadow. We see that Alex has some issues. They get a classified call explaining that America has been in contact with aliens. Their mission is now changed.
First contact.
One of the 2 astronauts will be the first to make first contact with an alien. They want Ted to be the one, but Alex has other ideas. Ted is to beam over there and hand them a message. It's all been arranged by the government already. Ted goes into the room with a gravity machine, all by himself, and Alex sees the opportunity. He locks him in and starts turning the gravity wave controller up and up until Ted is flattened.
Squished. Yep.
The aliens approach, and Alex takes Ted's place. They beam him over, and things don't go the way Alex expected.
No,
they
didn't
do
quite
not.
go the way I expected either. Yeah.
Well, the outside view of the ships is very poorly done CGI, but otherwise everything looks really good here. It's no Expanse.
It was adequate CGI.
Yeah.
You see it. Yep, that's a spaceship. That's okay.
It seems like NASA's mental health exams aren't quite as good as they used to be. The ironic twist at the end wasn't much of a surprise, really. And they have not done an episode in space until now, and this was a good one.
Yep, I liked it a lot.
You like this? This was your number 1, you think?
I think this was my favorite.
All right.
Yeah.
Next up, we have sibling rivalry.
Sibling rivalry at Manchester High School. Lola tells her counselor, who is Molly Ringwald, her counselor, that her brother is trying to kill her. She tells the counselor the whole story, and it's all very annoying. You found her annoying.
I did.
I didn't find her as annoying as Brian did. Yeah. Anyway, Lola's friend Grace has a crush on her. Lola goes home and wants to have a talk with Andrew, her brother, but she can't find him. We notice the axe in the garage has gone missing. Andrew says Mom and Dad are dead, and Lola is the one who killed them. We get a flashback of Lola vampire biting her mother. Andrew disposed of their bodies later on. And maybe we should stop there.
Okay. So it's not what we think it is. It's not abusive parents and a crazy brother. She's a vampire.
Lola,
maybe.
Yeah, at the beginning you're led to believe that Lola is the victim.
But the whole thing is a story being told to the psychiatrist, so what's really going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting.
Well, this one...
and maybe she was a little bit annoying, but no, I didn't find her as annoying as you did.
Valley
No.
Girl cheerleader. Annoying.
Maybe a little bit over the top.
Okay, my opinion, this one couldn't end fast enough.
Oh, harsh.
Lola's story to Mrs. Porter was super annoying, but probably a good representation of an airhead teen telling a story. Obnoxious and useless, the whole scene could have been cut.
Huh. Harsh.
I mean, this whole scene of her talking to the psychiatrist just goes on and on and on. And, yeah, shut up already.
Wow.
The makeup in this one was unexpectedly good, though. The vampire face, when you find out who the vampire really is very cool.
Yeah, that was neat.
All right, 4th episode, Pipe Screams, and Within the Walls of Madness. Directed by John Harrison and Joe Lynch. Written by Daniel Krauss and John Esposito. Stars Eric Edelstein, Barbara Crampton, and Selena Anduz. 41 minutes. First episode, Pipe Screams.
Just a clogged drain.
That's all.
Call the plumber.
Just
no
some
problem.
hair.
Yeah.
Victoria is a landlord who has plumbing problems. She calls the plumber to fix the problem, and there's water everywhere. She calls her tenants animals and doesn't care about the lead pipes. Yeah, let them drink lead.
She's really an awful landlord.
She really
Slumlord is the...
Very much.
Uh-huh.
She hires Linus because he's desperate. She wants him to repair her lead pipes. You can't fix lead pipes, he explains. They've got to be all replaced. But something inside those old lead pipes is looking back out at Linus. Something crawls out of the pipe and kills the cat right behind Linus. Linus hears little critters running around inside the walls, and he just assumes they're rats. But then, something shoots out of the pipe and covers his hand.
Spoiler, it's not a rat.
Yeah, it looks like a giant hairball, but it's not. I liked it.
Yeah.
Barbara Crampton's landlady was an over-the-top villain, and Eric Edelstein played a desperate but still good guy plumber here. The creature effects were gross, it has social commentary, and it was a good tale of good versus evil versus a not-so-simple drain clog. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, all in all, a good one.
All right, you ready for some Cthulhu?
Cthulhu and Denise Crosby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This one is called Within the Walls of Madness.
In the U.S. Detention Center, 72 hours after a containment breach, prisoner Zeller gets a new lawyer, willing to work for his movie rights. He used to work for a remote biological research station that studies all the weird supernatural stuff there that's happening at that station. But is it real or not? Well, that's what the attorney's there for. Dr. Trollenberg, according to him, had found a wormhole on a frozen mountaintop, and then something came through it. There's some kind of weird pulse, lots of screaming, and Mallory is killed, one of the characters. This is all flashback of him telling the story of what happened. They find Zeller standing over Mallory with a bloody axe. Well, Zeller tells Trollenberg, who's Denise Crosby, to watch the video, see what really happened. Well, she watches the footage of the monster killing the girl, But she lies about it and orders Zeller to be killed. So Zeller kills Carson in self-defense. It gets complicated a little bit of who's really the bad person here. Well, Traulenberg deleted the footage, and she knows all about the creature, but this leaves Zeller looking like he did murder. And so that's why he's in this detention, and he's got the death penalty for murder. Well, she wants the old ones to come through and reclaim the Earth. Zeller kills Traulenberg just after she explains the whole thing. So he didn't kill the other person, but he did kill the bad scientist.
Is that the good stopping point?
I think so. Yeah.
It's hard to tell with some of these. All right, so nothing like a visit from the old ones to liven up your day. And in Zeller's case, to prove you were telling the truth all along. Remember, they come in through the walls. This was good, well acted, and exactly the right length.
And good special effects.
And I think this is probably my second favorite.
Mm-hmm. It was a good one.
And the final one, Episode 5, Night of the Living Late Show.
And this one was pretty darn awesome.
This one's 41 minutes long. It's not a double feature. It's just a longer one. Directed by Greg Nicotero, written by Dana Gould, stars Justin Long, Darcy Carden, Hannah Fearman. 41 minutes.
And I like how it took a different approach to virtual reality. By splicing in.
Could have very easily been a Black Mirror episode.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
May have been.
Yeah.
May have tried for that. Simon has an immersopod, a VR chamber. He climbs in and closes it looks like a tanning booth, actually.
It does, yeah. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Repurposed.
He climbs in and closes the lid, and the headset covers his eyes.
But, I mean, that's totally realistic, too. He, as the inventor, could have just repurposed a tanning bed.
Yeah. He chooses Horror Express and begins the game.
So you splice in whatever movie you want, and you, instead of an artificial VR, you become a character in the movie. Yeah. Whatever movie you choose.
So he wants to hear the monster in the box, but Christopher Lee interrupts him. What? Christopher Lee is in this?
Yeah, it was neat how they spliced that in with Justin Long, and Justin would say something, and then Christopher Lee's response would be a line from the real movie.
Yeah, Horror Express is a movie from the 70s with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, and there's a monster on a train, and it's a real movie. Not a very good one, but it's a real movie.
It was okay, yeah.
But in this episode, Justin Long's character, Simon, puts himself into that movie. And it's really well done how they did it.
Yeah, very clever. I liked that.
Kind of a Forrest Gumpy kind of thing, but it's very interactive.
Well, it turns out he's got an ulterior motive for being in there, too, though. This particular movie.
All right, so his wife, Renee, doesn't want to try the machine. She takes his desire to escape personally. Why does he want to spend all his time in that machine? They are having some marital difficulties.
And Darcy Caden is Renee. If you've seen The Good Place, she's the actress that played the Janets.
Oh, yeah, right.
Which I loved her in that.
I can't say I've seen her in anything else. Did he marry her for her money? And she thinks so. Well, he goes back into the game/movie and meets the Countess, a character from the film that he's had a crush on since he was little. In the movie, the monster breaks out of the box and kills the baggage man. So there's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning, he disappoints his wife again and then climbs back into the machine to play more of the game. It's a 2-hour movie. How long does it take him to get through this simulation?
As long as he wants.
Yeah, I guess. The conductor forces open the box, and they find the dead baggage man inside. Simon has a date with the Countess for dinner. Renee goes back inside and finds him in the machine, naked.
Yeah, he's had a crush on this Countess actress character since he was a kid.
So yeah, anything can be porn if you want it to be bad enough.
And he turns it into that, yeah.
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 That night, Simon goes to bed for real, and Renee tries the immersopod. She finds the Count and tells him what's been going on with Simon and the Countess. Meanwhile, Peter Cushing's character is talking about the creature has drained memories from his victims. Renee runs into the monster, and then she pushes the reset button halfway through the attack. What will happen?
Mm-hmm. What indeed?
Well, looks like the Star Trek holodeck has been invented for 5 minutes, and it's already caused a holo addiction problem with its very first user.
Holo porn.
Who's not going to try something like that?
Absolutely.
Seeing the characters interact with the 1972 film characters was fun and more realistic than I would have expected. I liked this one a lot also, and it's the only episode of the season that doesn't contain 2 episodes. Overall, I liked Season 2 quite a bit better than Season 1.
Yeah, I think I did
Season
overall,
1 seemed
too.
rushed and a little meh. The story quality here was better, and it felt like they weren't trying to do the exact same thing as in the movies anymore. These were a lot more original this time around.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, check it out. Check out Season 2 especially.
Yeah, I was surprisingly not that impressed with the first season. The second season was much better.
Yep, much more impressive. Yeah.
All right, and that is our show for this week. Thanks for joining us. Stop in during the week at horrormovieguys.com and check out all our reviews and books. You can buy books at horrorguys.com/books.
We have books.
We have books. And get ready for next week.
What are we seeing next week?
What are we going to see next week?
Well, we're going to see a Russian classic from 1967 called Vi.
I think it's Vi.
I think it's Vi. Yeah.
VIY from 1967. You can look it up.
And then another Russian horror movie that's more modern from 2020 called SuperDeep.
SuperDeep.
And then we're going to watch a real classic, the first original Godzilla, where it all began in 1954. And last we're going to take a look at an indie movie that's a fairly new one called Miranda Veil from 2020.
Miranda Veil.
Mm-hmm. That one looked interesting. Very interesting.
What happens if you can't die?
Yeah.
Sounds painful.
Could be.
All right. Well, I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.